So tonight for Wellness Wednesday, we have a special treat where we're bringing on 3 incredible industry leaders in the area of business. We have Miki Wright, and Miki is a 3-decade in the industry leader, and she is an accomplished entrepreneur, a consultant, and a trainer. We have Steve Gomez, who is a salon and spa business coach and trainer, and he is an incredible speaker and also a great writer who is behind a lot of our really powerful books in our industry. Ronit Enos is also on with us, and she is the CEO and founder of Salon Cadence, which is a beautiful salon coaching program, and she is also the author of the new book, Profit First for Salons. So in the chats, let's please welcome Ronit, Miki, and Steve to our program.
Hey guys.
Woohoo! Be on.
We made it.
It's so good to be here, Andrew. Thank you for having us.
Yes, thank you, brother.
Our pleasure, for sure. So to kind of kick us off, I'd love to just ask kind of a big, broad brushstroke question to each of you. And starting with just, in your conversations that you're having with your clients in the salons or just even individual stylists, what are some of kind of the hot topics that are coming up for you in your coaching? Steve, we'll kick it off with you.
Well, first of all, again, thank you for having me, Andrew. It's always great to hang with you. He and I go back a long, long way. We've been brothers for a long time, so it's always good to connect, man. Big virtual hug. And to rock and roll with my good friends Ronit and Miki, who I've known for quite so many years as well, is an honor. To answer that question, and I apologize, everybody, fighting a little cold. You hear the voice. It's gravelly, but you know what? It's sexy. But anyways, there it is.
Very sexy. Very sexy.
That's all I could say. That's all I could say about this damn thing. But anyways, there's a myriad of things that any business, any small business has to navigate in this era of COVID and war and this and that. It's easy to let distractions get in the way. So one of the things that I've been doing pretty much across the board with all of my clients, Andrew, is just bringing the message of focus on what you can control. That there's a lot going on outside the 4 walls, but what's happening within the 4 walls is what you have direct control over. So rather than allow what's occurring outside to bring in stimulants that might not be positive or empowering, focus on what you can control, and beginning with what's working and how you're growing. Because when we start from a foundation of what's working and how we're growing, we become more confident, more empowered, and more appreciative of where we are. And from that lens, you can begin to look at opportunities to improve. And one of the things that I'm committed to as a coach is to help people really focus on and be conscious of not only their thought, but their languaging. If you're listening to the words that I'm using, I'm saying areas of opportunity or opportunities to improve, as opposed to challenges or obstacles or problems. Those things create barriers that can get in the way. I think that no matter what's going on around us, we have what we value, who we are, what we're committed to do to serve our community. And I think the other thing is trust in the data. And I know we're going to get into that a little bit more deeply in this conversation. Trust in what the data is telling you need to work on, because that eliminates the feeling of what you think you may have to work on. The data is irrefutable, and it guides you into areas that are specific and measurable. So I think that's a good launch point of what I'm talking about with my clients across the board.
Beautiful. What about for you, Miki? What are the hot topics you're finding as you're having conversations in the industry?
Well, again, thank you for having me. It's really a great opportunity to be here. We had such a great interaction, I guess my first time around, and great to be here with this fabulous panel. So in my world, I guess I've been doing a lot more discovery calls from the beginning of the year on, and a couple things are coming to light that are a little surprising in a sense, but one, and they're kind of opposite ends of the spectrum. But one is that there are a lot of stylists who are not making the money that they need to make. The income is not there for a variety of different reasons. But I think that almost has to be job one to keep people in the industry. and from leaving the industry, and putting some structure in place and putting some systems in place that will help them not only attract but retain the clients that they're servicing. And so, I was kind of surprised, at the challenges that a lot are having with the income level. Maybe we can talk about that a little bit deeper later, but it is, I had a salon and day spa some years ago, and getting to the first mark is still where they're trying and aspiring to get to. And so it's like a big gap years wise. It's like, okay, it's 2022. It's like our pricing needs to be reflecting, the current situations, increases in the cost of doing business and increases in the cost of doing just living, the cost of living, gas, groceries, just our regular everyday things are really, really, necessitating even more than ever that we really look at this pricing piece and how we're doing that on a regular basis, which should be something that we've already had in place, but we're seeing that we haven't. And so I think, in a lot of ways, the pandemic shined kind of a bright light on the financial situations of a lot of the people in the industry and our, in a sense, lack of preparedness. And we have a great opportunity here moving forward. And I would say the other side of that coin is that there are a lot of stylists who are overbooked, overworked, overwhelmed, and they are struggling to set boundaries, to really map out a career path that really looks and feels the way that they wanted it to when they came into the industry. And so I think there are a lot of issues, and hopefully we'll be able to talk about a little bit more, but with the boundaries and being able to, in a sense, kind of redesign, reimagine, reinvent the way that we're doing business, and looking at our business models going forward and saying we may have to do something a little different to make it work.
Well said, for sure. I just want to connect to you and welcome all of you that have been saying hi in the chats. And Jennifer, I do see your question. Jennifer has a great question about I'm thinking of opening a salon and spa by the end of the year this year, and she's asking if it's a good idea or not. So I'm going to have us hold that question, Kurt, because we're going to do a speed round after we get through a couple of these questions, and we'll. To everyone in the audience, if you have specific questions that you'd love to ask this panel, you can pop them into the chat, and as we see them, we'll add those to the speed round towards the end, where we're going to go through and ask your questions to the panel too. And Ronit, I'd love to bring you into the conversation with kind of that same question. What's been coming up for you with your clients and the stylists you're talking with?
Yeah. So again, thank you for having us. It's wonderful to be here and having such a great company. So for what I'm looking at, I speak to hundreds of salon owners. I also speak a lot to independent solopreneurs that really want to grow from being a solopreneur to having an actual company. And a lot of their stylists within their, environment, we speak a lot. And I would say the number one that comes to me, that they're exhausted, they're tired. Everybody is really tired. They're working like chicken with no heads, doing all the things that they think they need, especially I think that, especially now that the world is so competitive, you think you got to do everything. You think you need to be on every social media platform. You need to do those stupid reels. You need to do those TikToks, and they all would love to have somebody to take care of a lot of their overheads of work. So that's the biggest thing is who's doing what, and how can I leverage to my time, because I just can't add any more hours to my day. So that's the number one that comes to me. And as a salon owner, and I've been a salon owner for a long time and decades. I mean, at least, I don't know. I don't even want to pinch myself in that number. I know I look like I've only been around for 10 years, but that comes natural. But so this is where the problem is. It's like they're tired, they're exhausted, they're trying a lot of things. And as both Steve and Miki say, at the end of the day, it comes down to financials. Why do I need to work all these hours? Why do I just need to squeeze another haircut? Why do I need to do one more thing just to make a tiny little money to take home? So a lot of people are like starting to question themselves, well, what can I do different? And so the financial piece of it is very important. And typically when I have my conversation, that piece doesn't come yet. What comes out first is, I'm tired, I'm exhausted, I just don't want to do all this work. And I never got into this industry to work so hard and not to have something to show for myself, for my family, for my I want to travel, I want to enjoy life, and this is ridiculous. So the other third part that comes before that is, how do I grow? What can I do to grow, to get to that Nevada? How can I scale? If you're in a company and you have more than 4 or 5 employees, or I like to call them investors, if I have more than that, how do I get to that next level? How do I get to enjoy? How can I pay a higher salary, a higher compensation to my staff? They're really searching for that blueprint. They don't have the blueprint. So that's the second. And when you put those two together, it comes down to the financial. It comes out, how can I have a lot bigger margins, a lot more profit, so I don't have to work this much? So I actually don't want to be at the chair anymore. I want to grow in other things. So talking about that, those are what's coming in. And of course, as we talk about this in the next few minutes, there's a lot of things that you can do, and I can't wait to share that with everybody. So,
Well, on that note, let's just keep going with you for a moment, Ronit, because that is kind of where I want to go with this first question. Is, let's talk about the financial aspect, and what are the ways that we can buffer and like create that financial wellness that we need as stylists and as owners. So let's continue with you for a moment, Ronit, since you're already on that topic.
So I'm on speed. I'm renting. I would
no,
say
this is the first round. You have a little bit of time. You don't have to do it in 60 seconds.
Okay. Thank you. So yeah, here's the thing. The thing is that I've been there before. I've ran a salon. I've been that crazy person that running with chicken with no head, and doing everything. At the end of the day, it comes down to time. You got to stop threading money. You got to stop thinking about time. Time is the most valuable thing there is. And I thought that money was the most important thing. But I've changed that. When I switched that and I switched to think that time is the most important thing, that's when the money start happening. The other things that happens in that industry, and everybody has their own, obviously, opinion, is that in all industries, okay, there's something that calls GAAP. And that's a system of accounting, a system of cash flow. How do you manage your cash flow? And unfortunately, that system is set us to fail. It literally set us to fail. So for one thing, we're not interested in reading a profit and loss statement. That's not what we want to do. I was the first one to say, I don't want to read it. I don't want numbers. I'm afraid of numbers. I was one of those students at school that always was not good in math, never was good in math. And I had my own reason. And therefore, when I felt like I thought I was an idiot. I thought I was not good enough in math. And I took that into my adult life, and I ignored numbers for the longest time until I found out that actually there's a reason for all of that. And there's a reason why we fail in managing our cash flow. We all are taught to run by budgets. I'm not a big budget person. I don't actually like them. Yes, we have to know our numbers, but to read profit first and to run your company based on online banking is absolutely going to fail us. And as you know, I'm a big believer in profit first. And obviously, writing the book about that, it's a whole different cash flow management that we implement with our clients, and we implement, and a lot of salon owners and stylists are following that and having a great success. It's a completely different cash management that sets you for success. So you don't have to ever worry about taxes. Don't lose sleep at night. You don't have to worry about payroll that sometimes you're worried about paying it or not. And you know exactly how much money you're going to pay Uncle Sam every month. And you don't have to worry about that when tax season comes out. And you're setting yourself for success by taking a paycheck first. And if you ask yourself, can that happen? Oh, yeah. And when somebody comes and tell me, 7% is awesome for profit in our industry, I say, are you kidding me? Who told you that? No. What do you want to make? What do you want to make? Just name your price and you can do it. So that's my 2 cents on financials.
Nice. Yeah, it sounds like we, kind of what has been said quite a bit so far is we have to start to think differently about how we've done things in the past. The old ways of accounting, the old ways of seeing profit margins, they just don't work anymore. And so I love that you're bringing to the table new ideas. Miki, what about for you? What are ways that we can help to inspire people to have that better financial health?
Well, I think our whole business model, I've been around for a while, and, with being in this industry for so long, I think the measure of success was who has the most clients wins. And so we come in early, we stay late, we squeeze everybody in, we double book, we make it happen. And, at the end of the day, but we're making money and all of that good stuff at that point. But right now, I think the whole script has to be flipped, that we have to look at, as Ronit mentioned, our time. And right now, just about everyone I speak to, as Ronit was mentioning, if they were doing, say, 5 clients a day before the pandemic, coming back afterwards, it's just so much harder. It's like we're automatically stressed just from everything that's going on in the world. Our clients have always brought anything and everything that's going on with them and plop it right down in the chair and share it with us. It's like emotionally that's taxing. Some of the states and some of the places, are mask free. Some are still in mask. Working in a mask is challenging. It's like we need breathing breaks and all of that kind of good stuff. And then we went from sanitizing between clients to really sterilizing our entire salon between clients. And so there's so many things that have changed, so many dynamics. And, as I mentioned before, the cost of our products have gone up, and it's not just one product. It's not like the shampoos and conditioners went up. It's like the colors went up and the foil went up and all of the different pieces of everything that we need in terms of supplies has increased in cost. And I did a post a while back where any other business, when they have increased cost, it gets passed right on to the customer. And in our industry, we are like, oh no, I don't want to charge my clients anymore. So, I say it sometimes that we are literally paying our clients for the privilege of doing their hair, because we don't know our numbers. And it's like, I actually met with a young lady and she knew one particular product that she pays like $50 a box for it. And there's 4 applications in it, which is $12.50 per application. And when I asked her, well, how much do you charge your clients when you do that service? She told me $10. So I don't think we have to be mathematicians. We don't have to pull out a calculator to see that math does not work. Every time she does that service, she loses $2.50. And how long can we stay in business like that? And so I think it's looking at how can we do fewer clients? How can we be more specialized, more focused? And how can we charge premium prices that will make it so that we can create the lifestyle that we came to this industry to create? It's like, I don't know, it seemed exciting when I was younger, but it's like everybody I talk to, it's like, that's the direction I think that we have to start to embrace, that we don't have to do every client that ever wanted to get done. We can't squeeze in, my mom's a hairstylist. I'm second generation of a sister that's in the industry. And she used to say, if it doesn't work on the book, it's not going to work in person. And, we're automated, but it's like, if there's no room to squeeze somebody in, it's not going to work any better when they get there, So it's really changing our mindset so that we're starting to do business in a totally different way.
I love that. And I think one of the challenges too, right, is that these are messages that are pretty pervasive still today and within our
Mhm.
salons. And so if I'm a hairdresser inside of a community, that no one else in the community is doing that. No one else is like, hey, I have to charge you this upcharge for this particular product. I need to add this particular charge for our cleaning charge or whatever it might have been, during the
Mhm.
height of COVID. If no one else in my community is doing this, then all of us are just struggling. And so
Mhm.
I love what you're saying, Mickey, because I think that sometimes we might have to be that person that steps up in the community and says, okay, you all can run your business how you want to. I'm going to run my business how I want to. And I'm going to
Yeah.
show that this can work and I can be profitable.
Yeah, yeah. If I can just throw one more thing in there, one
Sure,
of the
please.
things that we come into this industry for is to be creative. And I just want to ask anybody watching, it's like, when are you at your creative best? Is it when you're running around the salon like a chicken with your head cut off, when you have like 8 people staring at you, wondering if they're next? It's like, it's not in those moments that we're at our best. And when you can set your salon up or your business up where you're actually at your best, everything works smoother.
Yeah.
And then discounting,
I,
it's like
I
sometimes
second that. I absolutely second that. You gotta be creative because for all of us,
right.
whether we run when we work on our businesses or we work inside our businesses, whether we are stylists or plumbers or lawyers, we all need to have creative moments, and you cannot be creative if you're on the grid all the time, engaged like nonstop. So you need to just feel like enjoy enjoyment,
Right.
in the process, and you can do that.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yes.
Steve, what about for you? What are you talking to people about when the subject of financial health is coming up?
Well, it's a loaded question, right? And
Sure.
I think everything that we're hearing from Ronit and Miki is mission critical. If I would sum it up in a sequential way that my nerdy brain looks at it, is the first and foremost, it starts with your perception. And what are you thinking about? Are you expense minded or growth minded? And it has to start with being growth minded. Everything starts from growth. If we're worried about the bills and the amount of bills we're paying, then without even realizing it, we're going to begin to look at things from a place of what we lack, as opposed to what we can do to continue to grow and create abundance. Each of you out there that own and operate a business, whether you work in a suite for yourself, you rent a chair, or you own the brick and mortar, you are sitting on an income producing engine. So you give me a problem that you have, and I'm going to plug that number into that income producing engine. And we're going to spit out a real small amount on the average ticket that you need to grow to make sure that you're covering whatever the issue is. But we don't think that way. We think about all the bills we have. I know now I got to spend more to deal with this. And now what do I do? And we get freaked out and we become emotional in our decision-making process, reactionary in our decision-making process, instead of being proactive, planned, and thought out. So the first thing I would recommend is notice where your thoughts are located and begin to shift them. That's why you buy books like Profit First and hire people like Ronit, Miki, and myself. I wrote a book called Financial Fitness about 6.5 years ago now. And I've got 20 different spreadsheets in the book that are all industry specific. So the second point after we shift your point of view is to get your numbers organized in the right place. Anybody can have a profit and loss statement, but typically they're not created in a way that is industry specific. So when I get my hands on a P&L, it says income, when in fact, you have to think of your company as being multiple companies under one roof. You own a business that is a service income company, a retail income company, a gift card income company, accessory income company if you have that, a rental income company if you have that. So all of those things need to be separated out under income. Typically, I'll see on a P&L, our inventory is lumped in. So our back bar and our retail inventory is lumped together when they need to be separated, because your retail inventory divides into retail sales to get your budget average. And your back bar is divided into service sales, not total sales, service sales to get your average. Payroll, not separated out. So we don't know what our budget is for our support staff. We don't know what our budget should be for our commission staff or hourly. If we're a team-based pay company, like one of our participants who's listening to us said that she is, so you've got to get the profit and loss separated out. And then you need to know what your key performance indicators are. What are those controllables that your habits, your thinking, and your systems or lack thereof are impacting your bottom line every day? Once you know that information, and look, you guys, it might take 3, 4, 5 months to get it organized. Be in it to win it. Be patient. Accept where you are and accept where you're not. Accept what's organized and what isn't. Accept what you know and what you don't. Accept how it's going and how it isn't. Because wanting it, us right brain creatives, we want it yesterday, and that's unrealistic. So be committed that you're taking one step a week in the direction of organization so that you have the data in front of you and, excuse me, you have the right mindset. Now, going back to Ronit's conversation around time, and let me just sip some of this tea to save my life for a split second.
What a break. What a break.
Okay. I'm in.
So, sorry, guys. When it comes to time, quite often many owners believe that if I work less, I'm not making as much money. And that's mythological. It's not the truth. I have a spreadsheet called How to Replace a Day. And the whole algorithm is set up to have you plug in that day that you're no longer generating income behind the chair or in a treatment room. And then it breaks down, we add in variable expenses that we have to add in. Because if I'm now sending clients to Andrew, Ronit, and Mickey, I've got to pay them to do the work. I got to cover the payroll tax. I got to cover the back bar. I got to cover the credit card processing. So I have to cover all those things. So I have to add that cost into the goal. But then I don't want to just break even. I want to add profit into that goal. So we add profit into that conversation to help us make more money. And then we break that number down and we drill it all the way down, divided by the number of days you're working a week and the number of guests you see as a company. So sorry. And you'll be able to see a very small number that you need to hit to help you move clients to other people on your team, still make the same amount of money you were before, and now freeing yourself up to have more time to be accessible. First of all, accessible to the overall company, which needs your attention every day. Mm-hmm. And then to the people in it that trust you to guide them on their path. They trust you with their livelihood. So you must do this. So I challenge every owner on here in the next 90 days to make a commitment to work one less day. And then by the end of the year, 2 less days. And you will transform your life and you will transform your company by doing that.
Nice.
I love that. I love that.
Yeah. And I like too that you mentioned it doesn't, like with all of these things, number one, it can be small changes that can create big results over time if yes. we can break it down in that way. And also, it doesn't all have to be done in 2 days. I have a young lady that had just barely started in a new booth, or sorry, salon suite. And, you know, I sat down with her this week and she is just feeling so overwhelmed. And really the overwhelm is just coming from the, I have to do everything now. And once we kind of broke everything down into bite-sized chunks, and it's like, well, what could you do in the 1 hour that you have this week that would actually make a difference? And just do that. Cool. And like you said, Steve, maybe it might take 6 months to get the salon completely organized, to really feel like my books are on point, to really feel like all this is in place. But we have to do what we can, and not just go into overwhelm, because then we just don't do anything, right?
You know, Andrew, I'll add to that. The other missing is we can get all the numbers organized, but usually the owner and manager are the ones trying to figure it all out and then go tell the team what needs to happen. Right. So my belief is we must work in an interdependent spirit. I wrote a book called Interdependent Leadership based on this. Once we get the numbers organized, we then have to collaborate with the people who are literally going to do the work to create the long-term change. So it's at the point of getting the numbers organized that we bring it to the team and we get their thinking caps on so that we all can work together to create solutions. When they're involved at the inception of it, then we don't have to transform their perception. That part's already handled. We don't have to get them at what they value because they were included so they feel more valued. We then only have to coach them on their habits and their behaviors moving forward. And eliminating perception and value and only having to coach on behavior is highly transformative for a culture.
Yeah, and thinking about exactly what you just said, Steve, and I'm totally with you. And so I'm speaking to three different type of audiences. So I'm speaking to you as a stylist, okay, and I'm speaking to you guys as independent stylists who have one or two chairs, and for anybody who's got a salon. So that wants to grow their salon and have, more than 3 or 4 people in there. And it doesn't matter how big it is. It could be huge. You can be in the high 7 million. You can be in the high 6 figures. You can be in the high 5 figures. The thing that I think we all have to figure out is, what do we want from this business that we have to do for us? What is the number one thing that we want it to do for us? What will it serve emotionally, professionally, and financially? And then start thinking and be intentional about how much money do you want to take home? Like, what would you feel successful? Is it $100,000 a year? Is it $200,000 a year? What is the amount? And then why? What is that money going to do for you? Because if you really care about a certain nonprofit, if you really care about, women charities, children, whatever you feel really strong, wouldn't you be so happy to write them a check? You always think about, I want to do more and I want to do more. But if you don't have that cash flow to support that, you can't. So if that's going to make you happy, then you know that you need to make, let's say, $120,000 a year so you can afford everything that you want, And so you got to start there. Then you say to yourself, okay, what am I willing to do and want to do to make all of this happen? Okay. And then how can I do it is basically having a blueprint to take you from one place to another. And then you can do it. And then you follow it. And like Steve said, and I encourage everybody to think like that. It's not a 3 months process. No, it's a 5 years process. As a matter of fact, it's an entrepreneurial process. And if we're going to be in it all this time, we have to absolutely, play all in and play hard, but also enjoy that process. And just so you know, I don't know if you guys know this, but Andrew is my mindset coach. Mm-hmm. I cannot do any of the businesses, and I've ran 5 businesses, sold 2, and I couldn't do any of this without having a therapist, a mindset coach, a business coach, marriage coach, okay, and to help me grow, to help me get to that place and to get the things that I want and to live the life that I want. You have to plan for it. You have to know exactly why and what you want to get from it. And then you reverse engineer it to where you are, like Steve and Miki said, and take your time. But without having the right cash flow, without having the profit model that will help you create all of that, yeah, you might run out of money and out of energy, and we don't want that. None of us want this for you. So
absolutely
very true.
Boundaries. Yeah.
So I'm gonna just kind of change gears on us just a little bit, because we do have a couple questions. I want to make sure we hit a couple of the audience questions before we wrap up. And since we didn't get a little late start on this, so Jennifer, the first one is from Jennifer, and there was the question of, I'm thinking of opening a salon and spa by the end of this year. Is that a good idea, or should I just not do that?
Open it.
That's a
Open it, Jennifer. Follow
great
your
question.
dreams. Go after
Yeah,
it.
do it. Do it.
Yeah.
And read the prophet first.
Yes.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
look, Jennifer. Sorry, Mickey. Go ahead.
Oh, go ahead, Steve.
I was just going to say, Jennifer, the first step is creating a business plan and really getting clear. And, don't sink all the money into making it look pretty. Make sure that when you get that loan out, you're also accounting for it. And when you're asking for the loan, you want to be asking for what you project 3 months of bills to be to get yourself open. You want to project for what you need to pay yourself to cover your bills in your own life, those first 3 to 6 months. That's what you're looking for in your asking price, not just to get the doors open, but to make sure that you're covering yourself, because running any business is variable, but opening it, extremely variable. You just don't know if you're going to have all those stations and treatment rooms full. You don't know how quickly you're going to get client count going. So make sure that in that asking price, when you're projecting what you need for your loans and to open your company, that you're covering what you think the costs are going to be to run your business. And reach out to people like us. I help people write plans all the time. I help people do valuations to sell. All those things are so important. Take your time to do it the right way. Don't put all the money into making it look great and have no money on day one. Not a great place to be.
Mickey, what's your take on the question?
Well, my answer is pretty much always the same, so it doesn't have anything to do with this year or last year or next year. But I think the only reason to open a salon is because you just can't see yourself being here and happy without opening it. It's like you have to have that passion behind it. It has to be a must, not for yourself, not for someone else, not because your clients are like, oh, you're so good, you should open the salon, or not because anyone else is pushing you, but because it's like something's pulling you towards doing it. And step one, just like Steve said, is like get with one of us, someone like us. Don't try to do it on your own, because there's a lot of moving parts. And you want to make sure, like he said, that you have, like Steve said, that you have a business plan. But I find a lot of people don't have a marketing plan. It's like you may have some clients right now, but there's no guarantee that all of them are going to go with you. Keeping your overhead low. It's like there's so many things for you to consider that a lot of times we don't consider on our own. And like Steve said, it's like I call it, kind of like the paying so much attention to the wedding that you forget there's going to be a marriage after. It's like the it's like you have it's like, oh, look at this chair and this mirror is so hot, and it's like, yeah, but how are you going to pay for all this? How are you going to keep it going? How are you going to pay for your bills outside of the salon bills? And I can tell you, from having owned a salon and spa for many years, that it's like those 30 days go like that. It's like, didn't we just pay that? So definitely put all your ducks in a row. But if it's in your heart, you should absolutely do it. But get support, put some plans in place and some structure.
I love that. That's so true. I can add to that. I would say take yourself into a place for 3 days. And when there's nobody there to distract you, put this on airplane mode and start writing the story of what your salon is going to be like. Imagine to yourself the biggest dream. Don't shy, shoot for the stars. Don't always think that the sky is the limit, because there is no sky. And write down the story, your story. Why are you opening a salon? What do you want to get from it? What do you want to make as an income? What do you want to give back? Who are you going to impact by doing that?
Right.
Once you have that story, and take 3 days, I don't know, take 2 days, 3 days, right? And then once you have that, then read it to yourself. And if you're excited about it, then now you're going to go to plan mode, right? And do whatever you can do to learn, have a blueprint. So when you go into it, you have small milestones that you can achieve, so you won't feel overloaded. And with that, you have to plan for freedom. You have to have that creative time. You have to know that when you go into it, you're not going to work 24/7 and not have a life. and you can do it. So that's my 2 cents.
I love it. And what I'm kind of hearing from all of you, and that I think is just brilliant, is be careful of the should. You know, when I get asked to talk to students at schools, you know, I'll ask them, like, who in here wants to be a salon owner? Who in here, that's part of what they would like to have happen? And it's often a good portion of the group. Like, and I think a lot of that is because we think that's what we should want. That's what we should do. And thank you all for kind of saying, hey, look, if it's not actually a passion, if it's not something that you are dreaming of, and it's just more like, well, you know, my dad doesn't think I'm going to make money as a hairdresser. I'll teach him. I'll become a salon owner. That's not great motivation to open a salon. Right? And so thank you all for, you know, your opinions on that. That's awesome. I want to hit one more. Are we okay to do one more?
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
Because I think this is a fantastic
Andrew,
question too.
If we need to go beyond, you know, I'm cool staying on a little bit later because we started a little later.
Okay, beautiful. So Dot is asking if we're frazzled by doing it all, and do you suggest specializing and letting other areas go? So I would love to hear your thoughts about specialization versus kind of doing it all.
Yeah, I'd love to go first because that's it's so dear to me. And I had so many conversations about this today on our calls. So yes, I am a big believer in niching. I really am a big believer in niching. You'll get better at one thing. It doesn't mean that people are not going to come and see you for other things. But when you have reputation of being the best at one thing, everybody knows that you're very committed, and your niche is you dedicated all your time, and they will come see you for everything else. Trust me, that's just going to happen. So look to see in terms of margin. Okay, I want you to think about that as well. What is your highest service in the specialization, whether it's extensions, maybe it's brides, maybe it's family, you want to do children, maybe it's just, you know, whatever your specialty is, find out the highest margins, which means where you're making your most profit, which means where are your clean profit, right? For example, if you're $50, if let's say you have a shampoo that costs you $15, right? And if you sell it for or $10, let's make it easy, and you sell it for $30, that means that you're actually making $20 on the bottle. But if you only sell it for $20, then you're only going to make $10 for the bottle, right? So that's the margin, clean margins. Find out what is your highest service production and multiply it. Like, do that as much as you can. Okay, more, because you're selling hours, right? You're just selling time. So what can you do the most that brings you the most in just that amount of time? Okay, and definitely specializing in is amazing. That's my opinion, my humble opinion.
Yeah. And, you know, before we go on, just, you know, the one thing I do want to say too is thank you for saying that's your opinion, because one of the reasons that we wanted to have this group on is because you're probably going to hear a little different take from each person. And, you know, we all are very aware that every opinion doesn't apply to every person. So each of you that are watching, what I hope you'll take away from this is the different thoughts and the different perceptions. And then you get to take that back to your business and say, okay, well, what about what Miki said, what Steve said, what Ronit said, what actually speaks to me and fits my salon, fits, you know, my values, the things I care about in my life. So thank you for saying that. Miki, you know, let's go to you.
Yeah, well, I definitely kind of piggyback off of you, Ronit. I call it your sweet spot. It's like I think we should spend most of our time living in our sweet spot, which for me is, you know, what's that thing that you love to do and you could do all day, every day, and you would just have the best day. You couldn't wait to get to work, you know, see what's in that list, and then also look at, you know, your most profitable services, like Ronit was saying, and highest price isn't always the most profitable. So really kind of taking a look at what that looks like, because, you know, certain services may be a $250 service, but the product costs $150. for you to purchase. And so it's like, by the time you do that and it takes 3 hours and it does this, that it's not actually all that profitable. And so really looking at those two things, I think gives you what I call your sweet spot. And when we can live there, it's like, it makes it so that people can easily refer people to us because they know what we do, what we're known for. It makes it so that, our work, like she said, it gets fine tuned, it gets refined, it gets to be like, oh, wow, that's so-and-so's signature look, and so that you can easily be identified from a marketing standpoint. And it also gives you joy at the end of the day. And it also attracts premium pricing. And I think that's really one of the keys, particularly in this market, that we have to look at being able to charge a premium. Ronit mentioned that we get paid for our time. It's like years ago when I was a student, it's like I actually went to a segment and I talked about what we get paid for. And I find so many hairstylists don't really understand what we get paid for. What are your clients sitting in your chair and turning over their money for? And it's more than a hairstyle, but time is one of the pieces, but it's your time and your knowledge. And so I think sometimes with the new models with pricing, with saying it's like, I'm just going to charge by the hour, that we sometimes shortchange ourselves and don't include, there are services, all of them aren't created equal. And some of them don't take us that long, but they're very valuable, and we're fast with it because we've been trained and we are skilled and we've spent money on our education, and we should get paid for that as well. And so I think all of those pieces come together to really make it, for me, a no-brainer. It's like, I if I can just take one more second, it's like I spoke with a lady who was a stylist, and she decided she no longer wanted to do a particular service, and she had stopped taking new clients, but because of the loyalty that she felt for the clients that she had, she actually was spending 3 to 4 hours doing this particular service because of the loyalty that she felt for this particular service, this particular clients. And I think the cost of loyalty is sometimes way too high. Like, how do we value that? And what does it mean for us that we should never be happy and never do the things that we enjoy doing, that we should take 3 to 4 hours of our precious time and life energy and put it on something that we absolutely hate doing? And she already knew what she wanted to specialize in and had already done training, and she didn't have enough time to do those things because she was busy doing stuff she didn't really enjoy. So we work too long and too hard, and I just say, enjoy your day and specialize.
Love it. Thank you. What about for you, Steve? Where do you sit with this?
I'm going to take a different spin because Miki and Ronit handled exactly what I would say on that subject. But in reading the question, if we're frazzled by doing it all, do you suggest specializing and letting other areas go? I'm going to bring the context of, as a busy salon owner, yes, you don't have to do everything. Learn how to delegate and start letting go of things that you think you need to be doing on a weekly basis that aren't serving you, that are having you do task-driven things. And so we can free you up so you can start spending more time analyzing and reflecting on what's working and what's not. So, begin to learn how to train people to take on things like inventory ordering, putting away stock, doing supply runs, opening the mail and getting things organized. I mean, returning messages. There's a lot of things that you spend a lot of time doing that you could train other people to do. And remember that delegation is not dumping something and expecting people to get it. Delegation in its highest form is supporting someone to grow beyond what they thought they were capable of. And when you're teaching somebody how to do something they didn't even realize they could learn how to do, then what's going to happen is they're going to become more empowered, more confident, and more loyal to you and your brand. And then that's going to free you up to have more time to focus on bigger picture things. So the delegation process, based on the complexity of what you're going to teach somebody to do, might take a little longer than you expect. It's not about the end as much as it's about going through the process until they get it down. So if I'm delegating inventory to Miki, I might think it's going to take me 2 months, and it might take 3 to 4. Be in it to win it, and however long it takes Miki to nail it is however long it's supposed to take. Miki's not Steve. So allow Miki to go through her journey. As long as she's showing up with 100% effort and she's being patient with her own process, allow her to go through the journey. That's my take on that question.
I love it. And great spin towards the ownership, because I think that that's a perfect way to look at it too, is a lot of times that is the stumbling block for owners, is feeling like they have to be able to do it all.
Correct.
You know, Andrew, if I can just add to exactly what Steve said, you know, my grandmother always told me that she rather eats pasta every day and save the money to pay for a cleaning service in her house. Like she rather do that and not fight with the kids and not spend her time on that. And I love that, you know, for anybody who's independent stylist right now that is sitting in the audience, or you have a booth rent or whatnot, you know, allow yourself to become an owner of your business. That means that like Steve and Miki says, delegate. And it's okay to hire administration assistant. It's okay for you to hire an operation assistant. You can do that. You know, even as a solopreneur, you can hire a cleaning service. You can hire administration assistant, like a executive assistant. Certainly, I'm not even talking about salon owners. They definitely need to do that. That's not even a question. But that's what I want you guys to think, because when my grandmother used to tell me that, it saved my marriage. I didn't fight with my children on, hey, why do you have your underwear everywhere? I'm not going to do your laundry. You know, I didn't fight. You know, I had somebody that I paid for, and I ate pasta more. You know, and you can see my bum is pretty big. So
I love it. Well, I know we could go on and on and on, and we do have some other great questions here, but I do want to be respectful of everyone's time. So, you know, let's I'd love to just have you guys each have a chance to just share what you're working on currently and where people can find you. So, Miki, do you want to start us off?
Sure. Well, for anyone that doesn't know, I guess I'm Miki Wright. I'm with beautysuperstars.com, and I help stylists go from struggling to superstar, and help you level up and charge what you're worth. And I do have a power pricing workbook that is a free download that you can access at Beauty Superstars, and that's with an S on the end.com, beautysuperstars.com/pricing, PRICING. And I do offer a webinar that is called Level Up and Charge What You're Worth. And we go through some of the things, because it's easy to hear what you maybe could do or should do in terms of increasing your price. But a lot of times we are very fearful. We don't want to charge. It's like we chicken out each time we think we're going to charge more, and we don't. And so it's costing us really a lot. And I want to help people to get over that, so that they can really create the income and the career that they really desire and deserve.
Beautiful. Yeah. Thank you, Miki. Ronit, how do they connect with you, and what do you have going on?
Well, they can always, and I'm going to put it in the chat, they can always reach me through my email. It's hello@ronitenos.com, and I'll put it in the chat. You can also, right now, can go to ronitenos.com. We're taking notification for the book. So if you're interested of getting notification when it's going to release, it's going to be released April 10. We're launching it in a big party at American's Beauty Show. So that's where it is. If anybody wants to come and see me, yay! It's like 2 years in the making. It's like worse than making a baby. It's harder than having a labor pain. But it's all love, as they all are. But if you want to come and see me, I will be at Americans Beauty Show. I do a presentation and a workshop for women-based entrepreneurs. So I wrote this book for you, woman to woman. Hey guys, you can have that too. And it's for you guys to just really to grow. I'll be at Americans Beauty Show on the 10th, and you can also. Oh, I'm having a party on the 25th. I'm going to be at the metaverse. So if anybody is interested to understand what is the metaverse, because every salon should definitely invest in getting to know what's the metaverse. So we're doing a fashion show. Salon 200 is on the 25th. It's going to have metaverse party. So go to salontoday.com. I'm going to be there, and we're going to party. There's going to be a lot of fashion. It's during Fashion Week, so we're all going to be there. It's going to be really fun. Come join us. It's really simple to do it. You want to learn everything about 3.0. So I'm going to be there, and we'll have fun. Yeah.
Thanks, Ronit. And Steve, how can they find you?
Hey, everybody. So you can follow me on Instagram at Salon Coach SJG. That's SalonCoachSJG. Those are my initials. My website is www.stephengomez.net. STEPHEN, just like my mama spelled it, GOMEZ.net. I've got 2 books, Financial Fitness and Interdependent Leadership. They are ebooks. They both come with spreadsheets and templates to really support you in not only learning the philosophy, the mindset, the thinking, but also getting the systems that you can integrate along with them. I have a 3rd book coming out this summer called The Service Cycle, which is all about the different touch points that make or break client retention. You can find me out on the road. We just came back from the IBS show in New York last week. We'll be at the Ethos Beauty event in Atlantic City coming up in 2 weeks. Really pumped up to go to that. We'll be at the premiere show in Orlando and in the 1st of June, and ISSE at the end of June. And then you'll also be able to catch us throughout the fall. I have a 2-day financial fitness workshop that I facilitate, where I analyze your cash flow before you walk in the door. I write a 6 to 8 page analysis and recommendations report about your company. And then I have you bring your profit and loss statement, your laptop. I give you some spreadsheets, and we take you deep into your KPIs, and we help you in a really safe environment learn how to not only get organized, but to understand what the data is saying to you. So please feel free to reach out to me directly and find out more about that. My email is info@stephengomez.net, info@stephengomez.net. And as always, it's a pleasure to jam with you, Andrew. Nancy sends her regards. My wife, Nancy, sends her regards to everybody here. It was great to connect with you, Ronit. I haven't seen you in forever. And Miki, it's been a minute. I'm glad we got a chance to jam today. And to all of you that are out there, listen to this again. And if you take one thing away from what we talked about, doesn't matter who said what, just take one thing and act on it this week. So this wasn't just inspiration that comes and goes. Make a decision to get uncomfortable and lean into one thing, and you'll be amazed at how much more confidence and how much more empowerment you'll have for doing that. And you deserve that for all the work that you're putting in. Make it smart work too.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
And in comes the dog for the ending.
Yeah, Sammy's right here. She's just into that meeting. And I just wanted to say also, it's been so awesome to be in this room together with all of you. We definitely have to do this next time in the metaverse, okay?
Okay.
But I would love to continue connecting and even take that even more, Andrew. I think this is such an awesome concept. So thank you, Andrew, for inviting me.
Absolutely.
Yes, I agree. I think the perspectives that everybody brings are really interesting, and we don't always get a chance to kind of sit down with each other and kind of see the different perspectives that we all bring to this industry. And so I think it's really powerful. So I too hope that, you know, you guys that are watching are really taking something from this that you can say, oh, I want to, you know, like Stephen said, put that into action and really see the difference, because there are so many resources. And a lot of times we feel like we've got to figure it out. And I've just been thinking, you know, just because things are figure outable does not mean you should be spending your time trying to figure it out.
Well said.
Yeah, you can't do
Absolutely.
this alone. You just absolutely cannot do this alone. You don't want to be alone. You will always want to be in a community. And so knowing exactly what you're supposed to do. So, yeah.
Right.
Awesome. Thank you all so very much from everyone here at SamView. We appreciate your time and energy. And to you in the audience, if you do have, I've noticed a couple more questions pop up. If you do have some specific questions, please reach out to any one of the panelists. I know that they're all open for continued questions, and we'll have this happen again in the future.